Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Tap House Talks, brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, experts at helping you plan the perfect Disney vacation. When you book with them, it costs you nothing extra on your trip, and you help support the channel and all the content that we produce, and brought to you by our Patreon supporters. It's Patrons like you out there that help us do videos and audio podcasts and all the content that we create. So if you want to become one of our Patreon supporters, you can head over to patreon.com/disunlimited, and over there you are going to find some exclusive content and a bunch of stuff. So check that out. But again, thank you everybody for joining us for this episode of Tap House Talks. I'm here at Disney's Hollywood Studios. I am, of course, Ryno, and today I have a very special guest with me, as always. Hannah, not as always. I always say as always.
You know me.
Yeah. She's always here. Always watching.
Should we cheers really quick?
Yes, we should absolutely cheers.
Right now.
Yes, yeah.
I just want to say really quick, I love this segment, and I also love you. I think you, seriously, I think you are such a lovable person. You are funny, you're kind, you're creative, you are all those things. And so, just being here today with you, you're always a joy.
Oh,
so
thank you very much. Well, I didn't know this was an ego-boosting podcast,
Absolutely.
but here we are.
Yes.
Well, I appreciate that. Hannah is, if you are not either familiar with our dynamic or setup or team or whatever, Hannah's kind of newer to our videos and podcasts and things like that. But I very much enjoy working with you. I tell anyone that listens, I'm always like, you know what I like about Hannah? She is a weirdo like me.
That's
and
right,
she likes
baby.
to drink. And
Yes. And
is
that
a topic
brings us
for
here
today. Exactly. See what I was doing there? Before we get started, though, what are we drinking?
Actually, you have to tell me because I keep butchering the name of it. I just know that Sierra Nevada.
She said, get me the Sierra. Do they have the Sierra?
Which is half of the menu here.
Yeah. It's the Sierra Nevada Imperial IPA, which is still one of the ones I like. But she said go full. What did you say to me? Go the full Monty or something like that?
I don't know, or full throttle.
Yeah.
Something
And I was like,
that.
okay, I think I know which one she wants. So
this has got to be the best value at Disney for drinks.
Oh, for
it has
sure.
to be.
Yeah. And that is, again, that's what our topic is going to be today, because if you are watching this video or listening to the podcast, you've already seen that.
Yeah.
But we're going to be talking about some of our favorite drinks, favorite places to get drinks, and the likes across Walt Disney World property. And so I was like, I realized we never really talk about this before. I think for me, there's a big thing where, we've been Disney fans, for so long, and we're so close to it.
Actually, how long for you? How long would you call yourself a Disney fan?
My great-grandmother used to live in Florida when she was still with us. She passed away in 2007. And so once a year, my grandparents would come down for a month, and sometimes they would take me for a week, or my mom would drive down and we'd stay, visit Nana. And one of the things we got to do was we'd go to either Magic Kingdom and Epcot, or we'd do Magic Kingdom and Universal Studios. So I've been going to Universal Studios, I think, since they opened, which is crazy.
That would maybe be my pick, Magic Kingdom and Universal, right?
I know, and I especially, I know that's a terrible,
Epcot,
the thing for me at Universal, and this is why I always say I love Dinosaur so much, was that they had rides that weren't like roller coasters, but they were exciting because they had the Back to the Future ride at that point. And I even as a little kid, I loved Back to the Future.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I did it, and I was so proud of myself, and I was like, I can do more of these types of rides. And so,
that's awesome.
I didn't go to Animal Kingdom until 2007, but when I rode Dinosaur, I was like, this ride's scary. This
You're
is
I like dinosaurs, but not when they're trying to eat me.
Yeah, and that's where I'm it's great. So what about you?
So for me, we came to Disney World for the first time, and I want to say it was 2002. And I was 10. I keep revealing my age without revealing my age, but anyways, there you go. And it was one of those things.
Do the math.
I know, right? Although for me, I'd be I forget how old I am. I feel like you hit a stage in your life where you're I
kind of do the backwards math all the time. I'll be like,
correct. I'm either way older or way younger. Never the right age. But anyways, so we came for the first time. It was my family's first real vacation, and I was just instantly obsessed. And so my family would come about every year for vacation, and then we moved here in 2017.
Yeah.
Because we just loved it so much. So.
Well, and I think now, having been here, I mean, that's what's that, like 7 years?
Yeah.
Is that the math
I know,
there?
yeah.
And when you live closer, because I know a lot of people have that dream of being like, I want to live to the thing I like to go to, especially after the pandemic. It's basically like, who cares? Just do what you like,
Yeah.
And so I feel like once you kind of are repeatedly experiencing this thing, when you go from once a year to once a week, it changes how you your relationship with that thing.
Yeah.
And so I feel like for me, I don't know if this is something for you, but like Disney parks in general and like Disneyland and stuff like that, I feel like my thing, I love to eat and drink my way through like a park, through a city, through wherever I go.
Because you don't have to typically wait in line. You can come and people watch, talk to
and
friends.
that's when I was a kid. I did a lot of people watching with my grandmother because I wouldn't do like the coasters. So my grandfather would go with my brother and I would stay on the bench with like grandma. And we just like watch people. And it was like,
I love that you already knew the best way to do Disney, really.
I mean, it's window shopping.
Yes.
Because my mom loves to do that, and it's people watching. And
absolutely.
So,
I agree with all those things. I will say that's the funny thing about living here is that sometimes I feel jaded almost to some of these experiences, which I think is kind of natural. But then I remember the reason I moved here is so I don't have to feel sad when I leave. Because I remember that was always like torture for me. Like when we would leave our family vacation and leave the Purple Gates, I was just devastated. And I was like, I never want to feel that way again. So sometimes when I'm jaded, I'm like, well, you know what? At least you never have to feel that again.
You can reset and come back again.
You can go to Disneyland, you can go to Lonnie, you can go on Disney Cruise.
Yeah.
There's other vacations.
Yeah, it's interesting. So when I was a kid, because I was we were a family on a budget. I know I said I was fortunate enough to get like that 1 year, and the kids like scraped up money to save and that sort of thing. And so it was like we had to earn it. And but if my Nana hadn't lived here, we wouldn't have, because we never stayed on property and we never ate. My mom would always pack lunches in like a big backpack and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like having these like snacks and drinks and foods and the resorts, all that stuff is like new to me as of living here.
Right.
Yeah. And so like I still feel like for me that's my version of being like, oh, it's this new version of Disney I didn't have before.
It's funny. I kind of relate to that. So, and I think same for me is like sometimes I go too hard that way.
Yeah.
But because it's like, well, I may not be on vacation, but I can come over here and get a beer and go home.
Well, that's why I'm like,
good.
it's the thing when people are like, Craig kind of makes fun of me sometimes where he'll be like, I try to do the Baseline Friday. And it is Thursday while we're recording this, so I got as close as I could to a Friday.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it's like, I kind of like it because it's somewhere where you're familiar with. It's still in that Disney realm. It is still, I think, a value compared to like Disney prices. Like, yes, I could go. There's no brewery like right near me.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like I'd have to drive this far anyway. So like, and then I can like come and do some work here and stuff. So so for me, I feel like we're going to talk about some of our favorite places, like I already said, to eat and drink,
Mostly
to drink, to drink and lounge.
Yeah.
And that is why I like Baseline, because it has a very specific vibe that I think it succeeds on.
Yes.
I think it doesn't have, I know a lot of people love like Rose and Crown, and we'll talk about that when we get to that.
Okay.
But I think what I like about here is like, there's like counters inside. So there's spaces inside, but they all have like hooks and charging stations.
Oh, nice.
And then the picnic tables out here everywhere, they all have umbrellas.
Yeah,
no. So it's one of those where it feels like a really thought out space.
Yeah.
And then the vibe of the music is like, I like that it's like modern music, but with this like kind of like softer listening. And then I don't know, and they rotate the beer sometimes, and you can still get a mixed drink. I thought you were going to ask me for a mixed drink, honestly. Everything was on the table for you.
I know.
And you picked the beer.
I so appreciate that. So I'm kind of a new-ish beer drinker. I wouldn't say new-ish, but so I have family that lives in Asheville, North Carolina, and Sierra Nevada has a brewery there now.
Oh, okay.
I know they do. Have you been?
No, I've never been.
Okay, I'm telling you, the Sierra Nevada in Asheville, North Carolina is like the Willy Wonka of breweries. Like, it is just...
Is it really?
No, it's beautiful. Like, you drive up this hill,
Yeah.
and, like, everything is made out of copper, and it just is, like, gorgeous.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, the beer's great. But
Woodford and I went to Woodford in Kentucky, and that I used exactly the same description as you. It was like a Willy Wonka. It was like a facility, like someone's playing a whistle and people are running around.
I know. It makes me... Wasn't it a Simpsons episode about Duff?
Yes, it was. You're right. Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I would say like post-college is when I started getting into different beers. Like, I don't do heavy IPAs as often. Of course, I went in room. But I do. I mean, and I think it's also better value. I think sometimes...
I think there's a part of me where it's that.
I think so
where you're
too.
trying to be like, I'm trying to be as efficient. You know what I mean?
True.
Like,
well, and especially like... Today's the perfect day. Like, you want to sip on something.
Well, and the weather's great. Yeah,
it is.
Today
It's really nice.
Yeah, the humidity.
I know the humidity is
low.
cooperating.
Yeah.
I know, which might make our snack attack kind of boring.
Yeah. We filmed a
less.
snack attack before we started this, and so I felt like we were all a little too relaxed for it.
Yeah, maybe so.
But that's what
today
baseline
is
will do to
National
you.
Margarita Day, so I did.
Is it?
It sure is. So I thought about it. I know.
Yeah.
It's not too late.
I'm like, I don't know.
Not
Maybe that'll
too
be my
late.
nightcap or
Yeah,
something. But
there you go. But so how do you want to do this? Do you want to go by
I think we should go by park, yeah. So I want to say, like, here at Disney's Hollywood Studios, I think, we started with, for me, what is my favorite on property.
Yeah.
Day or night. I think they've got some bartenders in here. There's, like, Mike, who's a staple.
Yes,
I can't remember the guy who's in there right now that isn't Mike, that is also, like, really nice.
Okay.
I forget to look at the name tag over and over.
Like, it's the same, almost like opening cast.
And they're very friendly. They're conversational, and even if they don't remember you, they make you feel like they remember you.
Right,
which
I think
is nice.
they match the vibe of baseline.
Yeah.
Like,
well, the bartender Mike, he was telling me that he's worked here for 7 years, and I was like, this hasn't been open for 7 years, and I was just like, oh my god, I can't believe how long it's been here, and that's how I feel about it. I still love it. The pretzel, the charcuterie. I still think there's like good snacks here.
Right,
so.
that's true. Well, and it's funny because like the snacks are good, so it gives you like a little bit of something for everyone.
Do you think there's anywhere else at Hollywood Studios worth going to?
Okay, so sometimes I like sitting outside at Brown Derby. They're like little tapas lounge area.
Yeah.
Specifically,
and you don't have to sit. You can get drinks to go over there as well.
True.
Yeah,
that's
so
true.
it's a double,
That's a good point.
it's a twofold out there. But
sometimes I just like sitting out there, especially Christmas time, because now they have this like vintage Christmas decorations.
Yeah, that's where
and I think it's
like
the
sugar
hot
babies
cocoa
are, right?
girls or
Is that what it is? That's what it is,
I don't know, something like that. They're like candy cane girls or hot
like
cocoa girls.
Porcelain babies in the grass.
Yeah. And it's there's Christmas lights, and I love the Christmas music at studios. So sometimes that for me. One time I got stuck at Andy's Lunchbox when it was storming, and the adult lemonade. I had a couple of those because when
I haven't had that.
Actually, it's not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad. But I wouldn't add that to my list.
You wouldn't say like it's a get, you got to get it.
No,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what's not on my list here is, I think you already know, Oga's Cantina.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
so I completely
about
agree
that.
with you about Brown Derby, by the way. My friends Bill and Diane, when they come to town, we usually start here, and we like to have like end over there on the very end of like the night or close. I think there's something nice about Brown Derby Lounge. Like there is like good, you can still get the Cobb salad, the stuff out there.
Okay.
I get a Manhattan when I go over there. What do you get to drink? Do you do the grapefruit cake martini?
Sometimes, yeah.
But here's the thing: outside they won't do the.
They won't do the grapefruit.
They won't do the rim. Yeah. They won't do that. So it's just like the drink in the cup.
Okay. Here's the other thing that kind of stinks about the outside area is that you can't use a discount on the food there. So sometimes you get there and you're like, oh, wait a second, I do want a Cobb salad.
Yeah.
But you can't get a discount outside like you can inside.
Oh, weird.
I know, right? So then
it's
you're
the same
like,
register,
well, no.
I thought. So that's bizarre.
Right. Yeah. So I haven't been in probably 6 months, but still.
I think that's definitely a great like special or date night or something.
For sure.
Like
Yeah, because it is more expensive.
We should talk about Oga's Cantina though, because I feel like Cantina, is
overrated.
Yeah, I went. My friend, we finished. We did the half marathon that ended up becoming like a 7.1 because of the weather and stuff. And he was
that
like,
would be my the one marathon I did.
I know.
Like I would be.
Listen,
pissed.
I was actually because I had not trained
cool.
appropriately. I was like, I'm not mad about it. So I was like,
you got the shirt, you got the medal, you did it.
I didn't even like the shirt of the man. It had Daisy on it. So that's why I was like, no thanks.
I'll take it.
I see what you said. You said as I'm looking at you and your Daisy.
I'm so sorry. I know. I just love her so much.
No, but he was like, oh, I'll buy you a beer, for your birthday, because it was like at the beginning of January.
And he was training a marathon.
And that's where I was like, okay, because nothing was open because it was raining and it was early, and so I was like, all right, whatever. I bet it'll be empty.
This place isn't open till like lunchtime, right?
No, it's not with park open, but it's like 10 or 11.
Oh,
I think it's been 10 lately.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not usually at park open. So.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, but Oga's does do park open because they do have like two specialty drinks for like the morning. But here's the thing, I don't like any of the drinks anymore, I don't think. Like, when I first started, I felt like it was like, oh, the fuzzy tauntaun's like fun because your mouth goes numb. Or what's the margarita that's in there? I like that.
I don't know.
The margarita's like over $20 now? Over $20.
I'm sure, and everything comes, we've talked about this, it all comes out of the dispenser.
Yeah, I don't know why it took me so long to realize that no one's actually mixing any drinks in there.
Because that place is chaotic.
Well, and you can't go in and be like, can I have a gin and tonic? Which is wild to me because you have the opportunity to like serve it with like green tonic or something like that and have fun with it.
Right.
And I don't know. I don't know. So the whole like...
Wait, question for you really quick, because I didn't do the Galactic Star Cruiser, rest in peace, wish I had.
Yeah.
Was that open bar?
Yes. They had like maybe like 8 to 10 drinks on a menu.
Yeah.
Like a pod chaser was essentially an old fashioned, but it was like an incredible old fashioned. But everything was served in a really unique vessel, and the drinks were really good.
Just getting sad.
No, and it was, you could just say, because when I did it, when I was fortunate enough, my friends invited me the second time. Because I did it twice, and once for work, and then I actually got to experience it for myself, and that was like, that time it was really like looking at that and I was like, this is how the bar should be at Hollywood Studios.
I would absolutely
because it
agree.
Definitely, like, they had the sabacc table in there, and I'm like, that the cantina should have like a sabacc table or something like that.
Right, yeah.
I feel like but they don't want people to lounge in there.
No.
I just don't like it.
Well, and they
like,
let you know about the 2 drink thing right away. They're like, basically like, don't get cozy.
And you know what happened to us? We got seated. We went in that day, and it was like pretty empty because it was still. I mean, I was in at like 8 o'clock in the morning. Or so. Yeah, it was something ridiculous, and I was like, but you're up at 1:30 to run a race, so you're like, oh, it's 2 p.m. Yeah. But they sat us. It was the big round table. They sat us on the 2 circular things that are at the end of the table. Sat one group right here, and then another group here. And those 2 people had never been here before, and they were confused. And then it was like, oh, we don't belong here because we're just 2 people, and this is a group of like 4 and 6. And I was like, I don't even want to turn around. Like, it's a weird where I was like, it's a forced communal thing that like I'm fine if we but I was also like, we're just 2 people. Why didn't you sit us at the bar?
And
stand us at the bar. You know what I mean?
Disney, because it's like there are plenty of bigger parties, so just put a bigger party there and let you guys sit at the bar.
Tell me I have 30 minutes then. Cut the time down, but don't do that. I hate. It's like, okay, so you and I are literally sitting at one of the picnic tables right now that I think could get maybe 3 adults on either side.
Right. Yeah,
you know what I mean? But this would be like Disney being like, okay, well, we're also going to put another party of 1 on this side, party of 1 on this side, 3 here, 3. And you'd be like, funny. That's not fun for anybody.
COVID wasn't that long ago. So it's like funny that we're like, oh yeah. And now we're just going to cram.
I know.
Everybody.
And they're just like, hey, remember when you used to be like, they were so obsessive about that? And now my least favorite return saying is, if you can see floor, there's room for more. And I want to be like, not for the amount of money that we paid to get in here. We're paying to do this and all that. I think it's okay, and I know people will be like, entitled Disney fan, entitled whatever.
No.
You paid for a service, and if it is not being provided to you, you 100% have a right to say.
The capacity numbers,
and they are the most expensive drinks. Some of the most expensive drinks on Disney property, because it's another lounge. I know we're going to talk about.
So
Hollywood Studios. Anywhere else that you feel like had a really good drink, or somewhere that you think is worth checking out?
Okay, I'm just going to give a shout out to Osborne Lights. I used to.
That is not a place to drink.
I know,
or
but
lounge.
they used to have like that. Used to be one of my favorite things is that you could get like a holiday themed cocktail and walk around and look at Christmas lights.
I actually don't think I ever got a holiday themed cocktail while I was here.
Yeah, you sure did, or you sure could.
That's
so, anyways, I'll just give a little shout out because But no, that's
I will tell you, they had a, we're talking about recent drinks, and I kind of wish they'd maybe bring it back somewhere, that Indiana Jones Den of Destiny.
Yes.
That bar.
Yeah.
So they only had it was 1 alcoholic drink and 1 non-alcoholic drink, right? But the old fashioned.
They had 2 alcoholic drinks because the old fashioned, the weathered fedora.
That's right, and one was like a margarita.
And one was like a margarita.
And then there was a third drink that was non-alcoholic. But the weathered fedora, that was one of the best like drinks I've had at Disney property. Yeah,
so
and it was in that Grenada machine, but it was also like you felt it. So it wasn't cheap on the liquor. It was good, and they put and I know it was because it's Indiana Jones and it was the boulder, but they put the circular ice in it.
I know, and where else you don't see that very often at Disney, which is mind blowing to me.
Especially for the amount of money you pay, they should be making the drink like they're supposed to, which is with the cube.
I know, and I see it.
I
don't know that. I mean, I see it all the time at Disney.
Especially on Cruise Line, I will say that. And I'm not trying to be negative about Cruise Line or anything like that.
Well, Cruise Line depends on what bar you go to.
Well, and also I think on Cruise Line, the way they rotate through their positions is that it's cast members trained in a bar position. It's not people trained as bartenders.
Okay, you're right.
So but like in like the Hookery, on the Wish, the shave place.
I haven't been on the Wish.
Okay, well, crazy? There is a bar there, so don't be like, I can only get my hair cut. You can go up there, and the guy will make you a personalized old-fashioned. Yeah, and it's so good. It's very good.
That is a great tip, actually, because that's something that, like, we would like to do. Yeah. I wouldn't have known that, though.
Yeah, so that would be, that's my, like, Cruise Line. Yeah, that's the best place to do that.
Okay.
Here, other than that, I'm like, I don't think there's anywhere that I'm like...
But they should be doing more bars like the Indiana Jones style Destiny Lounge.
Pop-up thing or whatever,
exactly. Or honestly, why didn't they just keep that?
Why didn't they keep Indiana the drink Jones at Jock Lindsay's?
Sure. Or I'm like, just keep that bar, because now that space they're not even using
empty,
it, and it's revenue.
And it was literally, like you said, it was all pre-made.
Right, I mean, it was like 2 cast members working it. So, and then you could have promoted the movie being on Disney Plus. It's right there by Indiana Jones, which is a dinosaur, not Indiana Jones.
Well, move the
attraction,
the outdoor, the stands that are over there. Move those like Epic Eats or something. Put that in there.
Okay,
put it in there.
Now I have another beef. Is they had a seasonal drink here at most of the bars in the fall, and it was like an apple cinnamon something, and it would come with like a Mickey light up cube, which I don't need one of those. But anyways, they had in the fall. They didn't bring it back this year, and that just felt cheap to me. You know, I mean, I'm like, really, like, I feel like
what I miss too. They used to do when they did Star Wars celebrations. Remember, you could get the cocktails, but they would have like a light up Millennium Falcon or a light up Death Star.
I do. I think about Star Wars weekends all the time. That's another one of my and Osborne Lights are my Roman Empire.
Okay, we talked about Hollywood Studios so much. Let's talk about Epcot, because I feel like when people think about eating and drinking or whatever, they're like Epcot. For me, I would say I've got one place in mind that I would be like, this is the best place. I've got a best drink and a best place to get drinks.
Okay.
So I have 2.
Can I hear yours first? Is that cheating?
I'll give you one.
All right.
So I'm going to say what I think is one of the more unique drinks, and I've talked about it for a while, and I checked to make sure it was still on the menus, is that in China, at the like tea booth that's next to where you can get like the puppets and the hats and stuff, there's a drink on that menu called Tipsy Ducks in Love.
Yeah.
And it's like a coffee, chocolate, bourbon drink, which originally when I first had it, I wasn't a bourbon drinker. Now I'm like an avid bourbon drinker. But this drink, they like, and I don't like coffee in this thing, but all of it works together, and I am telling you, they pour it strong.
Right.
So it was a good value, and it was a good drink.
At Disney, you know? And it's unique, like he said. Like, that's not a cocktail you would get. Yeah. Like, I couldn't get that cocktail back home in Mississippi or whatever.
Right, and they're like, I'm not going to make this. This is too much.
Right, that's true. I don't know that I have like a favorite drink. I'll tell you what my go-tos are, though.
Yeah.
So go-tos would be a pint of something at Rose and Crown.
So I don't like going into Rose and Crown.
Oh, because it's crowded?
Because it's chaos, too.
It's
just like everybody.
And kind of like you're in a bar back home, you know?
Yeah, I guess. I like
a
order.
Nicer, for me,
like,
a nicer version.
I don't know. I feel like... there's nothing I want. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a lot of hype.
I get the blend, so it's a little more like, okay. But at the end of the day, I could technically do that at home.
Yeah.
You know, especially here, like, you can get all those, like, British beers.
Well, and that's the thing, I guess, where I'm kind of like, it's a no thrills. But then they have the drinks like the Green Dragon.
And it's, you get 20-ounce beer.
And what's the one you like, the Snake Bite?
So actually, I had that wrong the other day. I actually like the Black Velvet.
Black Velvet?
Yeah, so that's the Guinness and the cider.
That one I like,
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, could I make that home? Absolutely. But, you know, I mean, something about
Am
20
I
ounce.
going to do it? No.
When in Rome, you know, 20 ounce drink. It's a hot day. It's great. My other go-to is always whatever the seasonal slush is. Martini Mom? Whatever the seasonal
Oh my God, I didn't
is.
introduce you as the Martini Mom.
know,
Dang it.
that's
You're the
true.
Martini Mom and I'm the Baseline Babe.
That's right. That's right. I mean, we are who we are, right?
Baseline
I know.
Babe. Martini Moms.
That's
what we
right.
need.
Unite Martini Moms. And it doesn't even just have to be martinis. You know?
Wait, though, where? France?
Like whatever the festival booth is.
Oh,
so
okay.
like, you know, and we got Flower and Garden coming up next week. But otherwise, I have to say the festival drinks I don't feel like are a good value.
No.
And so I don't typically get them. Like
That's why I usually
the small
only even
beers
do
make me sad.
Well, even the beer. That's why I was like,
I
that's
know.
not usually worth it. So I don't like to do it unless it's one you can't get.
Right.
But it's like, they're never. You're like paying more. You're paying almost the full
absolutely.
price for half the thing. Yeah.
I think
Mexico. I feel like the Mexico booth, like that permanent booth, they will sometimes have really creative margaritas, and they're the ones where I'm always kind of, I keep my eye on it.
That's
and I know
true.
people talk about La Cava, but La Cava is such a process.
I
such
know.
a haul.
That's
and
a
it's
problem.
expensive.
Right.
And I actually don't think that. I'm sorry. I mean, change my mind. Listen, I know about one thing, and we talked about it, but I don't love the drinks in there anymore, except I've heard that Nate, paging Mr. Morrow, that he has a drink that is maybe
like a
something,
secret menu
something.
kind of thing?
I just hear there might be one in my flavor profile, and I hope I'm not misspeaking right now, so I don't want to say what it
way
is.
to find out,
But there is one that coming up that sounds like I would definitely go in there to get.
Okay, all
but
right.
I like the outside one better. But I'm also
I like it for the convenience, you know. So everybody loves the avocado margarita. And
no,
it's too
I
sweet.
don't like
it's
it.
Too sweet,
you know what other one? The
especially on a
blood
hot
orange
day,
one like feels
that's-
like it gives me like heartburn. So
Correct.
bad,
Same.
so
What's
bad.
I feel like you either get
Something's
heartburn
in
or
it.
you don't.
Yeah.
You know, and I do. I get. This is going to sound weird because this is not my vibe as Martini Mom, but the skinny margarita from there, I get that, and I know that sounds crazy.
At the booth, inside or outside?
Inside. It's called the Little Flocka.
Okay.
But the reason why is they make it with like a specialty tonic water. Because you hear skinny margarita and you normally think like,
I take just the bottle, you know, the light green.
Exactly. Yeah, the Real Housewives.
Yeah.
I think like aspartame. Like I think it's going to taste like
that
a Diet
fake,
Coke.
yeah.
Right, but no, I like this because it's like tonic, lime, and tequila. So it's like a solid, strong drink without being like super syrupy.
I like that, yeah.
But again, it's 20-something bucks.
I know.
So by the time I tip, it's like $25. And so that's why everybody's like, I mean, I talked about this the other day, start in Mexico, and I'm like, well, no, because going into...
You're blowing your budget right away. Yeah.
I know.
You gotta loosen up, like going around, so the purse strings
I'm
open.
like, I don't want to wait 30 minutes and pay $25 my first go, you know?
Yeah.
So I really wish they would, and I know you've talked about this before, I wish they would open up something like this in that new...
In each park, I think.
Yeah,
But,
well, in each park,
but I think
period, but
for
especially
sure
in Epcot,
in the
Future
garden,
World,
yeah.
in the gardens area. And then also, like, we hang out on that playground a lot over there, and
Somewhere
I'm
over
like,
there, yeah.
we, you know, us
Well, there is
Martini
a-
Moms
there-
need
yeah.
a little something sometimes, because, you know, who wants to hang out at a playground for an hour?
I mean, I'd love it if it was like a rotation of like
My
kind
kid
of
does.
drinks around the world, like, you know,
Yeah.
or something where it was like the highlights of being like, okay, so maybe in America they have like one or two beer, not in America, I'm saying representing
Yeah.
America, but you know, and then they've got, you know, highlights. So it's like maybe it's the Grey Goose slushy, maybe it's the thing, but it's all there. You know, and a little bit. I feel like it's drinks that people are already going to go wait in line for. But.
Right, and it's more money just saying hello.
My tip with Epcot, and the thing that I feel like is unfortunate because Epcot is such a culturally diverse park, is that I would check what beer is being offered at the African trading outposts.
Oh, yes.
Because I feel like there is where they'll rotate, but they'll be like a pretty creative. Like there was a hibiscus beer that was pretty good.
Yeah.
That's where they used to have the
I feel like you
Ebdon
normally
beer.
wouldn't see at Disney.
Right.
And
it's that sort of like hidden gem, like, you know, so it's not like everybody's waiting or something. And
that's true.
and then also the bar in Morocco, because the Morocco, if you go like you're going to Spice Road Table, you don't have to go in. You can just walk up to the bar, and no one is ever at that bar.
Okay, so
and you can
I've
go in there and
never
get like
done that
doubles or whatever. And, like,
okay,
yeah.
That's a great tip, because like I've been to like the outdoor bar across the street, and that's mostly like sugary,
No,
like the walk up
no,
window,
yeah.
like icy type. Like I think that's a
No, you've got to go walk into the building, and that's where you can be like, I want a double gin and tonic, or I want a thing, and I'm like, and they're not
well, then,
messing around.
Can you sit down in there? Like, can you sit out?
Well,
the bar?
I think that Spice Road Table, or if that's even called Spice Road Table, I think it's a lounge.
Right? Oh, that's right.
No, wait.
No, it was. No, it was like a Blue Cross
Marrakesh
Blue
is the one that closed. There was one that closed that was inside.
Oh my gosh, you're talking about
I'm talking about the one on the table on the water. No,
yes,
so the one on the water, you can walk in, and I also think you can go and sit down now.
Okay.
I don't mean to quote me on it. It might just be a walk-up thing, but
check that out.
I would recommend the hummus fries.
I mean, Spice Road Table is a good, that's a great setup.
Yeah.
You know, if you're like sitting on the water and it's funny. So I did that a couple of times, like during the COVID time. So it was like, you're trying to meet up friends, you're trying to sit outside, and we sat outside at Spice Road Table. And I remember like stuff being a fair price, because sometimes you think tapas, small portions, it's Disney, high prices, and I was pleasantly surprised. So that's also a good tip.
I feel like if we move over to Magic Kingdom, people will be like, oh, well, there's nothing in Magic Kingdom. But here's the thing. I think we learned our trick.
Yeah.
Is that if you can walk up at Tony's, go in there, do what those guys did in that video that were like behind us, that just be like, hey, is there a table open for like however many of you there are, and then get the apps, and then get the bottle of, because you can get a bottle of Prosecco in there for like, I know it sounds really expensive because it could be like 50, 55. I think it was like 50 to 60 with some of the cheaper ones. But I'm also like, that's at least four full drinks.
Yeah, right.
So like divide 50, 25, $12.50 each.
Right.
And you're like,
Or even just get a glass of wine, I mean, I'm sure it's not the best,
it wasn't,
but I mean, and also, but I think having that view or being able to watch the parade, like that makes up for it.
Okay, so if you're on that monorail track, what do you think is the best place to go and stop at?
I will say this really quick. I am very sad that California Grill is a prefix menu now, because I used to go up, and it stayed. That was like a COVID 50th anniversary hold-on thing.
Yeah.
Because I used to go up there all the time. I would sit at the bar or the lounge area. The lounge area get the same awesome view. You could I don't order
even think
sushi.
I really processed that. Yes, I did. I did go up in the lounge area once.
Yeah.
And, my friend was in town, and she was like, "Let's go up," and that was the one time I went up there.
It was really the only thing.
We did
it was
sushi, like you said.
Get sushi, get a pizza, and they had a really extensive wine list. And I am not a sommelier by any means. Hello, if you know me at all, that ain't me. But they had the Disney family wines there that some are like, oh, Disney family wines, but they had like Silverado, which is Diane Disney Miller's winery, and stuff that you normally would only be able to find on the cruise ship. So they had an interesting wine list, and then they had good solid cocktails.
Yeah.
So that used to be, and that view from California Grill, it made me feel like I was on vacation.
Yeah.
I was like, I feel like I'm on a cruise. I feel like I'm on vacation. I used to love that, but then now it's kind of a whole thing. I'm sure you can still go to the lounge, but it's hard getting into the Contemporary. And then if I'm going to go to the Contemporary, I better be parking there.
That is the hardest part, because it's the last thing you want to do is take the resort monorail around, because you will be the last stop on it, and and if the monorail is even running efficiently.
And let's be honest, if you're going to a lounge at Disney and you're getting a cocktail and even just a couple appetizers or whatever, you're spending $100.
That's why
I
really wish they would just do a thing where you had a pass that you could that you had to was that part of it?
No,
I had tables in Wonderland, but I didn't. I
kind of be a thing. You could you could get your valet validated, so you could say, "Hey,
oh yes, that's right."
Receipt.
I never used it because I was embarrassed.
It's kind of I think it was a loophole, and that's probably why they got rid of it. But otherwise, for me, I'm gonna say Trader Sam's.
Yeah, we have some friends of the show, Ross and Lana, and that's the problem is that it's hard to get inside. But they were saying how much they've become, how devoted they become to Disney and stuff like that. They were they told us the other night during one of our Patreon Zooms that we do for people that are in our $25 and up tier is that they've never been, and I was kind of shocked because I was like, you guys have tiki mugs in your video behind you and this whole thing, and so I was like, okay, we're gonna have to do this at some point. But again, that's the same thing. We might get turned away, might not get turned away. I don't know.
Right.
And it feels like I get it, but at the same time, I want to be I wish there was some communication where you could be if you don't You know, like there should be a set number of Trader Sam's parking spots or something.
Right.
But then you should have to prove it, or otherwise they're like,
sure,
we're
like,
gonna,
show 'em
you know,
a
where's the
receipt.
ticket? Where's the whatever?
Right, like
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I just
agree.
wish there was a better system in place, so like people who are local, or people who are not even local, if you're staying off property and you want to get some of that experience, I think that's okay. Like, I don't know, it's just that weird where you're like leaving money on the table too, and then also I hate being made to feel like I was doing something wrong.
Right, correct, because you're like, well,
you're like,
I'm
no,
not
get out of here.
Right,
you know,
I know. You're like, I'm not going to spend $100 at Trader Sam's. I could have just gone to Ohana for that price, you know?
Right.
But I chose to spend my money at one of your other fine establishments that doesn't have a reservation. Maybe they should go to a reservation system like Disneyland.
I think they should. I mean, honestly, because then you could prove it. And then also you as the person going to go drive, you can be like, is it available today or not?
Right.
Can I join the walk-up or not? You know, so I just... I feel like it was one of those too. I went so much that it was kind of like, because I'm always outside.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
I know one. The problem with outside here is that most of the year
it's too hot most of the time,
or it's raining.
Whereas in California, it's cool at night all the time. So you're always like, it's at least a little bit nicer. Like, you don't want to be out there during the day, but you're like,
yeah, sure, I know. I love Tamboo Lounge too.
I don't know that I've really, other than like getting a beer there, like while I was waiting for Ohana, have ever.
Not that the atmosphere is anything spectacular, but the fact that you can get like, I would say decent cocktails. Like the Back Scratcher is like one of the strongest cocktails at Disney, I feel like, and it's under $20. And then you can also order the noodles, you can order the wings, you can order the bread pudding from Ohana. So the only problem is, I will tell you, if you do that and you add it all up, again, you're like, I could have just
I could have just made the reservation.
It gets expensive, but I like Tamboo.
I met some friends at the 1971 steakhouse, but I like to the bar, but I was already at Magic Kingdom, so I just got on the monorail.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why it worked. But there was that fig drink that was there, and instead of scotch, we did it with bourbon, and it was so good.
Really?
And I was like, but again, it's like a little pricey, and you can't do the mimosa thing like we did in the video while you're there. But
hey, that's a good tip. They used to do at Steakhouse 71. I don't know, like if it was seasonally or what, but on the weekends they used to do brunch, and so you could go at noon, order a burger, and also do the all-you-care-to-enjoy mimosas. And I don't know, I need to see if it's just a weekend thing or if that was like a seasonal thing. But anyways, that was like my go-to. It's like I would go Saturday or Sunday, order a burger, order, refillable mimosas, walk over to Magic Kingdom. I ain't gonna lie.
You know what place I don't think is worth it, and I think we need to do the review because we never did it, was the Beauty and the Beast Lounge in the what is it called?
What is that
I don't
remember. It's something lounge, right?
Yeah, I think so. But it's in Grand Floridian.
We wish.
I wish. Yeah. I'm like, the something Enchanted Rose.
Enchanted Rose.
I went because I had friends in town and they were like staying over there because they had like TVC points or something, and we went. And it was just one of those. And the bartender was like the server was like, oh, you want to get it with this bourbon in it, and it's $2 more, and blah, blah, blah. And I said, no. And he was like, oh, well, it's like harder to think bourbon. And I was like, yeah, I've had the bourbon. Like, I'm not trying to be a jerk about it, but I was like, you're recommending bourbon that I don't like. And I told him, I was like, I've had, it was like Widow Jane. And I've had Widow Jane, and I was like, it's not my favorite. I don't want it. I want something else. And that's one of the things. Like, I don't think just because the bourbon's more expensive is it better. And some people just, that's their like method of it.
Maybe that's
like,
the aesthetic of the
like,
Grand Floridian.
Yeah, but
I'm just kidding.
Okay, Disney Springs, real quick. Do you think there's somewhere, if you're here, that's like that's my place to go to and get a drink?
So I mean, Wine Bar George. I love like.
Well, I like the burrata. So I like the little.
Oh, I know. Who doesn't love burrata?
I would never do like the meal is like don't do that. I always think it's it's a snacky place.
Yeah, get the burrata. Get like the what is that flaming cheese thing?
I don't know.
There's
what
a
is
cheese that comes out on fire. It's a same thing like appetizer-ish.
And they usually have seasonal drinks over there too.
They do, yeah.
They had some good like I went last January. Yeah. And it was like right on the cusp, but they still had like holiday drinks, and there was something gin based that was like like gin and like peppermint, and I was like, no, this is unhinged, and it was really good.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah, it had like a little peppermint leaf on the big square ice cube, and I was like,
cool. I feel like everything they do is good. Like that's the one place like I would be like, I trust it. You know, I trust George.
I've heard their
that coffee drink. Speaking of espresso martinis. They have some sort of like espresso martini coffee drink, and it is fan-freaking-tastic.
Do you ever go to the Edison?
You know, I don't. I mean, I have, but I don't.
So,
Did people go there?
Pre-COVID, and even like while it was reopening, Edison had a great happy hour menu. So this was what you could do. You like basically it was like one part had learned how to hop. And it was like Edison was one of the earlier openings, and it was like it would open at like 2. So their happy hour would be like 2 to 5, and then there was another one that was like 5 to 7.
But then does one.
Yeah, and then Planet Hollywood, their outdoor, that Starlight
beer.
Lounge had one, and theirs has a very extensive beer list.
They actually do, which is funny.
Yeah.
And that bar is so forgotten about. It's on the back side.
I know, and I think people think of what they think of inside is going to be like what it's like outside. It's not the same thing. Yeah, Flavatown. But when the Edison had the happy hour menu, that was when it was at. I don't think they really do it right now, and it could be changed. But
I feel like it's becoming
the
Atlantic Dance Hall.
It's too much
of Disney Springs.
The problem is it's very expensive, and they have very talented bartenders who are very knowledgeable how to make drinks, but the problem is it's a lot of that thing. But the reason why I'm bringing that up is because there is a coffee drink over there too, and my friend got it, but it's like $20 to get too, and I was like, I don't want that. I know. I think there becomes a cost-benefit ratio where it's like, as the price of the thing rises, I no longer enjoy it because it's too much.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
This leads me to a question though. Like when you go to Disneyland or you go to Disney on vacation, do you make drinks in the room?
Do I make what?
Drinks in the room, or do you like get beer or whatever?
So Craig got me a little bit into like, it depends. Sometimes it'll be like, there'll be like I forget what we had a trip where like basically we're at Target, and in California they sell the liquor in the store.
Well, some
and they
of them
will
here
clearance
too.
it.
So fun fact here, if you're here, go to Target.
No. That's the conjoining store. They had it in the aisles. Yeah, in the aisle.
Okay,
yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like you would find a beer or baby powder or whatever. And I was at a Target.
Hawaii does the same thing if you're going to Lani.
See, and that's the thing is they can do discounts because of that. And so there was like a Knob Creek in there that rye, and it was like $8 for the the $7.50 bottle. So I was like, this is a $50 bottle of bourbon.
Right.
So I bought 2 because I was like, well, take it home with me, because I was like, I have a check back. But then I was like, well, we're going to drink one in the room. So I got like a third one. I packed the other 2, and I was like, well, this one will be our room drink.
Yeah.
And, and like somebody else drank it more than I did. And,
so they started the CNN with Reg.
But it was one of those, so we had that. But then also, like, when we usually get in, we like to do breweries, and we'll take, like, beer back. And I don't know, he got me on that, but I never end up drinking in the room. I always say I'm going to, and then I don't.
So that's like a thing for me. And I found out recently that, because you can get it delivered to your hotel, too. So, like, I always Instacart stuff when I go on vacation, and so you can get liquor, beer, whatever, Instacarted. Like even Walmart Instacart in California, they will deliver liquor.
Well, I guess because they have the liquor for sale. Yeah, you're right.
But the problem is, fun fact, that's a great value. Like, because I take stuff to the pool with me. Like I'm that guy who's like, if I'm gonna go out to the pool. Because, I mean, you got to save your pennies, No,
for sure.
But the only thing is, you have to be, if you get beer, wine, liquor, whatever, delivered to your hotel room at Disney, you have to, they have to hand it off directly to you.
To the adult,
Right,
yeah.
they can't hand it off to Bell Services. But anyways, I mean, that's a good way. And, I mean, you can do it here, too. So,
I think it's a great... If you want a
nightcap or,
Yeah, I have, when I'm at Disneyland specifically, there's I like to check and see what, Pim's has for the mixed drinks, the beer, the Sonoma Terrace.
They have so many
There's a couple of spots out there that I might go to where I look and I'm and I judge it by that, where I'll be like, there's nothing interesting. So then I'm like, well, I might as well just save myself some bucks and just have it for the room. And then that's when you go back midday or in the evening.
Yeah, like
relax,
I said, nightcap, take it to the pool, whatever.
So my Disney Springs spot for me, is I would say, like, if there is any happy hour, check through that. But I mean, the what's the beer works down by Cirque du Soleil?
Oh, City? Is it? No, City Works?
City Works? Yeah, City Works. Yeah.
What
and I used to be,
place?
but I'm
it's
also
so
like
quiet. Like, I don't think about that place ever.
I think it's just because there's not a lot of stuff happening
down
on that
there.
end. So it's
Yeah,
like,
true.
But
Yeah.
like, they have a happy hour too, and they sometimes have cocktails.
Yeah, that's
it's not like
true.
a go out of your way, but that is the problem for me with Disney Springs. There isn't like this is my go-to.
Right.
You already said it. You said Wine Bar George's date night, whatever.
Yeah, sure. And it's on the higher cost side of things,
But then we have one more spot here. Still.
Okay.
Animal Kingdom.
Animal Kingdom, DAC.
The reason why I saved the Animal
DAC
Kingdom for last is because Animal Kingdom has my favorite mixed drink on property.
Oh, I don't think I knew this.
It is at the Nomad Lounge.
Yes.
And it is the
That would be my
Tempting
favorite.
Tigress.
Oh, yes.
So that's a bourbon-based drink.
Yes,
but,
and I would absolutely agree with that.
The problem is, I feel like when it started, it used to be like $12, and now it's like 17 or something.
I know. No,
and
that's
like,
the thing now. It's hard to get, other than beer at Disney, a drink under $20.
Well, I will say for everything we've talked about in terms of that stuff, is that at least I feel like they're using very unique ingredients that aren't necessarily easy to find.
And the experience is good. It's not like they're giving it to you in a tiny...
out there. Yeah.
Correct. I mean, you can hang out there all day, but they're not giving... Because that happens all the time at Disney, where you're like, oh, it's paid $20, and they gave it to me in a
and you get like
solo
the
cup.
You're the first ridge on the...
Right, correct.
Like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
And I'm not like saying like it's quantity, it's quality versus quantity, but there's got to be some meat in the middle.
Sure, especially like I said, some of the places like the festivals where like, oh, here's your little sample of wine, and it's a thimble in a plastic cup, and it costs $18 or whatever.
It's crazy. But do you have a spot at Animal Kingdom? I also like the green beer. Have you had the green beer in Pandora?
Yeah. I think that's solid.
The grog, I forget what it's called, but sorry. Not an expert. So.
I know, but no, I like.
But those
the
are my
beer.
two. Those are my two.
I also like a
there,
Tusker Lager. That's one for, and you can get that almost anywhere.
Can you?
Yeah, you can get it at Flame Tree. You can do a mobile order.
But it's for Animal Kingdom, right?
Yeah.
Or
no.
for Disney? I know you can get it at Animal Kingdom Lodge though too.
You can. I don't know. That's a good question. I'm not confident in that.
I will say this: that it feels like it's not going to be that good, but the Restaurantosaurus in the back has that lounge now.
Oh,
do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes,
and they have like the A-frame that's out with the pictures and stuff.
Yeah.
There's a bartender in there, Jimmy, that is so nice. And he's good, and it's
sure
funny
I've met him before
because
he's funny.
Yes, he's funny. He's friendly.
But he's also like shoots it to you real, which you don't always get.
Yeah, and it's funny because it wasn't Mike. There's a bartender that's worked at Brown Derby Lounge, Ron, for like 20 years or something like that, 17 years. And he said,
I love that we're
sent him over to Jimmy. Yeah. But he was like, we've never met, but we send people to each other. And I don't know, there was something like super nice about that, where I was like, you guys have to meet someday. But it is true, Jimmy is nice. Those
really
drinks
cool.
over there are handmade, so like,
well, it's true because it's just him in like a little bar station. It's not like
it's never more than like 5 people in there either.
Right, which is cool. But and I kind of like, so I'm gonna be that weirdo. I kind of like the campiness of Dinoland a little bit. I think it's nostalgia for me. Like that reminds me of like old.
I mean, Dinosaur is one of my favorite rides, so I'll never be like bulldoze it. But I'm I'm like, just don't touch my ride.
Sure. I mean, but they could leave, that corner of it. But no, I don't know. And it's quiet. So, I mean, and I think especially if you're coming peak season, that's a huge perk.
Yeah.
I like the drinks at Yak and Yeti, too.
Okay, so I only because I've never like eaten at Yak and Yeti, but I didn't know there was a bar you could sit at inside. So my friend Jill and I went inside.
Okay, so we have to go, because you were talking about ahi tuna nachos.
That's right,
They had the best dang ahi tuna nachos.
See, I gotta.
Period.
Yeah.
And they're like reasonably priced. I'll give you another tip for them. They're owned by Landry's, which is,
somebody was telling me this. You can be part of a club or something,
Okay, yeah,
right?
it's like $10 or $20, but you get a welcome reward that's
like $15 or something. Yeah,
and they get a birthday reward every year. You join once and you're in it for forever, and it puts you. I can walk in
priority seating,
so
right?
Yak and Yeti is actually a hard reservation to get, so I can walk in anytime and be like, hey, I'm a Landry's Rewards member,
and it's free to join, isn't it?
It's like it does cost like.
Oh no, you said it costs money, but you get that money right away.
Okay, rewards. But yeah, you can walk.
It's like Lazy Dog. I signed up for their beer club.
Oh, I know, and I did because of you.
Okay, they said $35, but I was doing the math and I was like, you're giving me more than $35 worth of stuff.
I know.
And then the discounts and things. But it's one of those where I was like, I don't think people show up for the later stuff. or they forget or whatever. But
I was
it's dinosaur-themed beer right now.
I know,
Did you see it?
Land of the Lost. So we got to pick up our
I'm going
pack.
after this, actually. I'm
Are
going to go
you?
get
Oh my gosh,
I have a calendar, so I won't try and leave without forgetting.
Okay, I wish I could. Because, I got that reminder. Like, it's
well, there's a glass. You get a glass every time, too, and I didn't know because they didn't give it to me last time.
Aren't well versed on the beer club.
No, they aren't.
Yeah.
And they aren't here because there's only one in Florida.
Sure.
I know this is off topic, but it is right outside of Disney.
Okay, so that little area, if you're like staying
across from
property,
Margaritaville, I think,
and across from the Target with a liquor store. So.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. The Target.
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah. And that liquor store over there is actually really good. That Target one.
Yeah, and there's an ABC store actually by the Chewies over there.
Chewies also enjoy that too.
I know, it's National Margarita Day. Ew. I got an email from them too. Don't worry, baby.
Okay, is there any other, before we finish, is there any other like resort, like is there a drink that you can think that we feel like we left out, or somewhere, a lounge or something that you enjoy where you're like, I think of Walt Disney World and I'm like, hey, I'd go here.
Okay, so there's one place I like and it's kind of cheesy and I feel like I might be alone in this. I love Port Orleans Riverside, the River Roost, and they have Yeehaw Bob, the piano.
You are alone in this. No, you're not. I know there are super devout people.
And that was like...
I think like Julie and Corey like it too.
Okay, because you get a
they did like a meetup, and I was just like,
I don't know. And I think probably part of that too is like my family growing up, like Port Orleans Riverside was like mostly the hotel we stayed at. Yeah. And so I don't know. I feel like it's kind of got that campy, and everybody seems to be in on it. Like I like being at Disney and like feeling like, I don't know, like, oh yeah, these are all people, like, we're part of the club together, like, we're all
you like
Disney
being in the
you know, I feel like Old Key West is that way too, like, Old Key West is,
the bar is the size of a closet.
No, I'm not talking about the bar, but I feel like the resort, because it's all, like, old DVC members, they're like, I'm in this Disney thing. So, what about you?
I think Wilderness Lodge, their Territory Lounge, like they redid that menu, and I don't know when they're going to do it again. But yeah, they've got like flatbreads. There's like a potato flatbread.
What about Geyser Point?
Listen, they can't do the s'mores old fashioned that they can do inside of Territory Lounge. So my thing is like Geyser Point has great real estate, but they are not updating that menu very well.
I know.
And I don't know how many times I've gone and they'll be like, oh, it's only up here, and then they'll say, oh, it's only down there. And I kind of hate where I'm like, why aren't both of your bars equipped similarly? Geyser Point I think is good in terms of like, you're staying there, the view, especially with the electrical parade that goes through.
Oh my gosh, that's like the best view of the electrical parade. I would agree. And that's like one of my faves.
I think
what about Animal Kingdom Lodge? Lobby at Victoria Falls? I mean, I know, but like, they had that South African wine there that's pretty solid. So you can get your South African wine.
Why isn't there a Zebra Dome drink? Some drink that creates that, like, Zebra Domes are so good, and they're made with alcohol.
Change the world.
Like, where's that drink? Where's my Zebra Dome?
That's a good point. That would be a martini for sure.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I'm
sure. And then you get it like in a little skewer.
And you get a little, you get a little Zebra Dome with it.
Zebra Domes are so good, aren't they? So good.
So I'm like,
no, I think I just like that lobby, and I think like at Christmas time, go get you a good glass of red wine, walk it over to that little fire pit in the lobby. That's a good time.
I'm trying to think. I'm like, there isn't really. There's not one that's like popping in my head.
What about Abracadabra?
You know, I feel like Abracadabra had so much potential, and then it kind of like fell by the wayside, and I kind of forget it's even there now.
Okay.
And it's not bad because it's supposed to be like a cocktail bar.
Right, correct.
But like then I went a couple times, and it was like they're not making the drinks
it's kind of like
well.
I know it's kind of like Enchanted Rose. It's kind of what it reminds me of.
It's overpriced, but it's also like, I'm not trying to be negative toward any bartenders on property, but it didn't feel like. That's the thing about the Edison is like it could be quiet, it could be whatever, but I do feel like there's good bartenders in there,
and they're putting like time,
and they know
like
what they're doing, and I feel like Abracadabra is supposed to have that,
right?
And
I would agree.
Didn't have that mystique and that magic for me.
Yeah, that's true. Have you
also the boardwalk is another place that is
so lacking.
to park at,
Oh,
too.
oh,
Lacking
yeah,
as well.
true.
I mean, they just closed the
But no, you can never
microbrewery.
park there. I know, right? Okay, so have you ever been to a special event? What is that place called? It's like second story of where Big River Brewing was. It's like an event space.
Oh, I don't know.
Anyways, it has like this awesome outdoor patio that overlooks the boardwalk, and I'm like, Disney, why aren't, like, I think you can use it for weddings or events or whatever, but I'm like, why don't you open that up? Because that view and that vibe is like...
Well, it's like, so you brought up Atlantic Dance Hall earlier, which is also at the boardwalk.
It's just a wedding.
But what's wild about that is I'm like,
real
that's the
estate.
only like dance place on Disney property.
Oh, I know. Yeah,
and
that's
like,
true.
it's impossible to go. So it's not easy to get to.
Are we going to not talk about jelly rolls?
I don't like jelly rolls. I don't like jelly rolls because my thing with piano bars in Orlando, Florida is like they could be talented piano players, but it is just people slamming on two different pianos where I am just like, it is a migraine waiting to happen.
I mean, kind of.
Let
It's
me
one
let
of
the
those
alcohol
where
do
I'm
that. I
like,
don't need you to do that.
I don't know if I'm like, does this make me feel like an introvert? But I just feel like I just start to like, I can't talk, I can't.
Yeah. I like to be able to communicate
there.
with somebody. That's why I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
But I do like a place where you can dance, and that's the problem. I think Disney lacks in those sort of spaces.
I mean, you can make it happen. We can bring it back.
We can do it.
I know.
Well, I feel like this has gone on not long, but I wanted to make sure we covered all the properties.
We had a good time too.
And yeah, so I feel like if we missed anything or we missed somebody's favorites, like please let us know that, obviously. If you like the video, thumbs up, subscribe to the channel.
Give us a thumbs up.
Comments,
right?
Talk to us. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, talk to us.
Come on, thumbs up.
Yeah.
People. It's crazy
You
how
have
much a
fresh
YouTube
haircut.
algorithm.
You look good.
Thank you.
Give us the compliment.
It's crazy how much algorithms sometimes rely on like the interaction of a thumbs up because it's one of those things where like I'm afraid to hit a thumbs up on videos.
I don't think
I'm always
about
like,
doing it.
I don't want this to be in my history. Like I don't want people to know I watched the Madam Web trailer. Like you know, but I did.
Have you seen Madam Web?
No, I have not.
Oh yeah.
I probably will, but it seems.
I'll wait for Disney Plus.
So awful.
I know.
It won't be on
I don't
Disney
like
Plus.
Dakota
It's a Sony
Johnson.
movie.
I know.
Yeah, I think
do you like
is
her?
Morbius on Disney Plus? No, I don't.
No, I don't.
And I know I don't know her and whatever, but
sorry,
not a fan.
You know, she probably would. Maybe
I didn't see 50
so
Shades of Grey. I don't think I've seen a movie with her in it, to be honest. I saw The Office and I didn't even know she was in it.
Oh, really?
Apparently she was in like the last episode of the last season or something, and I was like,
she's a Nepo baby. Anyways.
She does not agree with it. But yeah, and if you are listening to this, please rate and review podcasts wherever you see fit. And thank you again to all our Patreon supporters who make content like this happen. And of course, if you want to support us more, please consider booking a trip with Dreams Unlimited Travel. We have a Dreams Unlimited Travel agent sitting right at the table right now.
Send me an email right now.
And she'll tell you where and where not to go and get those cocktails and drinks and stuff.
Actually, any like by wanting to book like a Disney vacation or just like a client of mine, send me these weird questions.
Yeah.
Like this is why you have a travel agent. Like,
well,
don't
the other
be shy.
part of that is too
and
is
if
like,
you don't ask, sometimes I don't think to be like, hey, do you like having a Disney cocktail? Let me know.
I think it's important because it's one of those things where sometimes people will be like, there's a lot of adults without kids, you know, you know, dual income, no kids, whatever. Dinks, AWOCs, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
And like, I am like, Disney is for all these people, but you also have a kid and you like this too. And like, so
absolutely.
It's important to have conversations like this because guess what? If you don't enjoy drinking, you don't do this, wait for the next video. That's all.
Yeah, that's fine, right?
Ask another
Something
question.
for everybody.
It's okay.
Yeah, that's true.
We do all the other stuff for all the other people, and I want to make sure we cover our bases. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And we had a great time doing it.
Yeah, we did.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, thank you for doing this. You're going to be forced to do it again. So
awesome.
Yeah, it's part of your job. You're contractually obligated. So
that's awesome.
But thank you, everybody, and we'll see you soon with another Tap House Jocks. Bye, everyone.
Bye.